Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of Against All Odds. And as I say at the beginning of every podcast, it's purely a selfish reason why I record these because I get to speak to inspirational people and share them with you. And today I've been so excited. You're going to absolutely love her. It's Emma Jackson. How are you?
Amy, I am absolutely thrilled to be here. A little bit warm, but absolutely. So I'm just super excited to be here. Super excited.
I've got to start because we did have a chat before the podcast. So we are filming this in a heat wave right now. And I said to Emma when she joined, I said, "How do you look so cool and calm?" And do you know what she said?
Do I have to get it out? Do I have to
Yeah.
get it? Okay. I've got a frozen. I've got a frozen bottle. It's an old milk. I've got a frozen bottle sat in my lap, wrapped up in a towel, sat in my lap, and it's lovely.
Well, everybody's going to enjoy this podcast because sometimes my podcast can get a bit serious, but I don't think that's going to happen too much. So it's amazing. Now, Emma is an alchemist. I love it. So, who do you help?
Well, okay. I suppose my thing is I help women of a certain age come back to themselves and embody the peace and wealth that a lot of us are craving for right now. And I help them create lives that feel really good to live in.
I love that. You've been doing this for a long time as well, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I have quite a few skills underneath my belt. I've been on the personal development train for, oh my gosh, I'm showing my age, about 25, 30 years. I started off really with Reiki, very simple. Somebody showed me what Reiki was like and what Reiki could do, and that basically changed my life and sent me on a journey of, well, just a long searching journey going through all kinds of modalities: shadow work, NLP, breath work, cryogenetics, lots of different energy works that go from removing trauma to entities to helping people shift their identities so they can manifest better, raising their consciousness and frequency. So I am all about sort of the power that we have as humans, and especially as women, within us, and really want to bring that out.
Yeah, I love that. How did you get into it all way back when you first started?
Well, purely like you, really, selfish reasons. I was on a healing journey. I was on a searching journey. I wanted to understand really why I could sense things the way I could, why I could feel things the way I could, why I knew stuff that most people didn't know, or why I knew things about people that they don't even tell their best friends, and I
Yeah.
wanted to really understand myself more on that level. And that took me on a journey through so many libraries. It took me on a journey around the world twice. And so really just a journey of self-healing. And it was kind of quantum jumped about a decade ago when I realized I didn't really know as much as I thought I did. And I found myself coming to the end of a very, very toxic relationship.
Right.
It's very narcissistic, which opened up a whole new sort of healing ball of wax, if you like. And that really catapulted me deep into psychology, shadow work, deep into that energy work, and how we can expunge and release all that negative energy that we have stuck within us.
Yeah, yeah, I love that because not many of us get to midlife without a challenge.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, I haven't found anybody yet. And if there is somebody listening that's got to midlife and they haven't had a challenge, go out and buy a lottery ticket. Absolutely, go out and buy a lottery ticket.
Absolutely.
But we're not taught how to deal with any of it, are we?
No. I was actually having a conversation about this today, actually. It's for my part, I feel we miss a lot of emotional intelligence nowadays.
Yeah.
I feel we are so quick to blame outside circumstances and external forces, when really all the answers lie within us. And I was never taught emotional intelligence. I'm Gen X. I was raised by boomers, completely just missed that boat. And that's something I was always searching for, and it's something I actually teach my own children, my own daughters. But I do feel emotional intelligence is missing in a lot of places. If we were just taught to talk about our feelings, be able to express our feelings without guilt or shame or being suppressed, oppressed, then I feel a lot more people would tend to be a little bit more rounded, I think. A bit more rounded.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's yeah, everybody's kind of judged on their IQ and not on their EQ. Yeah, so that's a problem we have. You know, you can get the cleverest people, but they just can't handle their emotions. So
not I have found that
yeah,
I mean, something else I don't find a lot of nowadays, and well, no, I don't hate to say this, it's bloody common sense. Common
yeah,
sense. And yes, I have met some incredibly intelligent people who can think off the charts, they're high achievers and all of this kind of thing, but really, when it comes to being authentic, vulnerable, actually trying to express what they truly feel, not what people want to hear, but what they truly feel, people can be really shunted. They can be stopped. You know, they hit that brick wall and all of a sudden everything falls down and they haven't got a clue what to do.
yeah, yeah. You're so right. And when you mentioned about Gen X and being brought up by boomers, it was very much stiff upper lip, crack on. And unfortunately, it doesn't work well, does it?
No, I was I was one of the generation that was like, you sit down, you don't say anything, you speak when you're spoken to, especially being a girl, a woman. That's it. You didn't have any place. And crikey, some of the things that I was taught coming from this generation was that you had to rely on your looks. If you weren't pretty, you weren't anything.
Wow.
That really, honestly, and even though we were girls, we weren't allowed to cry. I was part of that generation where we had to step up and be in that masculine energy and really sort of be in competition with the men and really bring out that sort of fierceness and leave all that femininity behind. So you've got this thing there that I was stuck in the middle of. It's like, oh right, so I've got to be pretty, I can't be brainy, but I've got to be brainy to get into where I want to be, but I can't get in there without being. And it's such a nightmare.
Yeah. So how do you start to unpick that? Because going from that to actually saying how you feel and actually how you want to be would be so awkward for you. It wouldn't come as second nature at all, would it? Because you've been taught a different way.
No, it wouldn't. And I found for a lot of my years being suppressed like that, and I was okay talking with other people and talking about their emotions or being a kind of mirror for people. That's always been a big thing of mine, being a good mirror for people. But and like I say, but when the questions turned around to me in that point, I would balk. I would choke up. Why do people want to know about me? No, people don't want to know about me. I don't want to burden them with them. And really, to start unpicking all of that is to become aware of that narrative that goes on in your mind. It's like as soon as you get to a place of feeling uncomfortable where you don't want to talk or you feel kind of antisocial, anything like that is an access point. So if you find you're in a public space and it's not even about public speaking, but you know, you're just speaking one-on-one and they ask personal questions about you and you have a problem with feeling, you know, or just being authentic, it's like I say, it can be so difficult, but that when you start getting that narrative in your head, it's like, oh, people don't want to hear that, you know, or you know,
Yes.
I'm fine. And so you start getting this narrative that comes up from literally the back of your mind. And this is where awareness comes in. And awareness really to answer your question, is the start of everything. It's being aware of how you feel, what thoughts are going in your mind, and that's what meditation is for. Meditation isn't about dissolving or emptying your mind of everything. It's allowing those thoughts to come in and pass through, and just be aware of them and what they're telling you. And these are then those access points to go deeper with self-inquiry. Why do I think like that? How do I feel about that? Why do I feel about that? Where did that come into my life? And like I say, that you start this self-inquiry, but awareness, being gentle with yourself, and awareness is always a good place to start. Always.
Yeah. And you normally find when you start questioning yourself, it'll come from either somebody else's belief, somebody else's opinion. You can't actually answer about why do I feel like that. You'll be like,
it's
because somebody else said it.
To be quite honest, when you start being aware and diving into these things, it's surprising, very surprising, on how many different voices you hear saying certain things to you. You can hear your mother's voice, you can hear your father's voice, you can even hear a teacher's voice, but something in there that has stuck with you, to, if you have been encouraged and that kind of thing, inspiring things can stick with you. But for most of us, it's something negative and a traumatic event that we've been through, and it's just stuck there. And it's just stuck there on like a stuck record, you know, an old vinyl record. Not that the kids would know what that is nowadays, but just stuck like an old vinyl record going,
Yeah.
just around in the same loop all the time. And like I say, it can't. That's the best way to do it. But like I say, those narratives and being in there and stuck like a record, but they're usually the ones at the surface are the easiest ones to find, if you like. And then once you start on that journey and start picking at those threads and that kind of thing, then you start getting into that self-inquiry and start looking into things a little bit more. And okay, why do I feel this? Or go a bit deeper, and then you start looking into, maybe, I don't know, inner child work, or you're going into shadow work. I can't even speak, I'm that excited. And you look into shadow work, or you look into NLP, or you start looking for people who can start bringing you relief, like energy workers, people who can do Reiki, reflexology even. Believe you me, I've had plenty of people moaning under these thumbs. So it's one of those things. It is a journey. It is one that it needs to be a conscious choice to start, because when you do, people tend to give up really, really easily, because it's when it's like starting a car and you've got, you know, you're jumping all the time, and you kangaroo jumping, and you're not quite sure if you're going, and you're stopping and you're starting, and then you stall, and it can be very disconcerting and very intense at the beginning.
Yeah.
But if you've got to that point where you know you're done, and really done with being stuck in whatever situation you're in, that is such fuel and motivation to just keep going. I am worth more. And again, but that's another thing that us women have a real big problem with.
Yes.
I am worthy of it. I deserve it. And it's like, it's even getting past that before starting any of the inner work. And there we are. And again, we come back to us women, and I'm waffling a bit, but we come from so much conditioning from the moment we're born, and from my generation to a gorgeous young lady like you, who's decades younger than me, you know. But
I'm not that young.
But we're all the same, you know. We've been conditioned and programmed. We have to sacrifice. We have to give everything up for the family. We have to put everything that we want about our lives and our dreams last, and we have to then just, you know, do everything for everybody else. And by the time you get to my age, and you've had your family, you've had your marriage, you've had your situations, you've had your circumstances, you've had your challenges and all this kind of thing, and you get to a point, I won't use too many swear words, but I do like to drop the occasional F-bomb, but you get to a certain point where you are so effing done with basically wiping everybody else's arse.
Yes. Yeah.
You just get to that point, it's like, why can't you do things yourself, and you know, and you start chewing your knuckles and all this kind of thing. And it's like, And so here, this is where I step in. Hello, this is where Emma steps in. It's like, right, okay, you want some of your life back, you want some of your sanity back, you want to find your peace, you know, you want to find that worthiness, that deservingness, and you want to find your purpose again, and you want to feel that fulfillment again, and you want to actually feel again.
Yes. Yeah.
There are so
Yeah.
many out there that are shut down, and they just think they're strong because they're not feeling anything, but actually they're just shut down and numb. Hello.
Yeah.
And again, that's where I come in. It's like, right, let's start really digging into this energy and really find out why everybody is so shut away, hidden, shut down. And yeah, and that's where I come in.
I love it. I mean, I completely agree. Us women. I mean, you know, I'm not saying that men have it easy, but
Don't by any stretch of the imagination.
But but we go through life. We have like different chapters all the time, don't we? And it's like that each chapter requires a different identity, and we're juggling so much that you are right. We become at the bottom of the pile. We get burnt out. We get overwhelmed, and it's you can see why women think they don't deserve more, because at the end of that day, they're that tired. They're not thinking, right, I'd love to go out and do this. I'd like to do this. They're just knackered.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, there's probably one or two that I know, perhaps you as well, Amy, but there's probably one or two that I know that maybe do things in their own spare time that they really enjoy and they really love. And I'm not just talking about a bit of yoga or a bit of Pilates or anything like that. I've been actually diving into something that they really love doing, whether that be taking the dogs for a walk, swimming, you know, just helping children, whatever it is, cooking, baking cupcakes, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just doing that thing because they can, and it fills them with joy. And I don't find many women that actually do that. It's more functional joy rather than fulfilling joy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you'll normally find as well when you ask somebody like, right, 20 things down that you love to do, they struggle because they've never sat and thought about it. And that's sad, isn't it?
And it's the same if you turn the mirror on them as well. It's like, say, even if you say, write 5 things down that you really love about yourself. Women struggle. You ask them to write down 20 things they don't like about themselves, and they're filling the page. They're filling the page. But you ask them, oh, what do you like? Write 5 things that you really love about yourself. You know, and yes, it's got to the point now, especially with the world changing as quickly as it is. But I really, really do feel that the women are rising, and I'm not saying that to the detriment of our gentlemen. I'm really, really not. They've had a good go. They've had a good go at it. You know what I mean? And I just feel now that it's our time again. We came from repressed and oppressed, millennia ago, and like I said, the chaps have had a good go. Brilliant. You've had a good, good crack at it. But let's now bring that feminine back in. Let's bring that balance in. Let's really bring that balance of, the male and female back together, the masculine and the feminine back together. I mean, as we know, because let's not confuse this, we all have masculine and feminine within us. It's energies. They are feelings and ways of being and perceptions of ways of being. They are not sort of a be all and end all of how you should be. And I mean, I haven't got all the answers. I really, really don't. But to bring that balance back in, where I do feel the women are here to ground the men. The men are there for the action, the phallus, and they're there for the action, the electric force and all that kind of thing. Whereas the women are the electromagnetic force, which is the receiving. So, you know what I mean? And to balance that out, because we're the nurturing side as well, we both have to balance these things within us and then balance those things externally within relationships. And I'm not saying it's like the men have got to go out with big clubs and all this kind of thing, and the women have got to be by the kitchen sink and be the little women. It's never about that. That is just programming and what society says that the nuclear family must be, and this is how a wife should be, and this is how a husband should be, and it's absolute tosh. It's absolute tosh.
Yeah.
And I do feel if we start doing exactly the opposite of what the government, you know, guidelines say of, you know,
Yeah.
we might find some answers. I reckon we might find some answers. But I really do feel it is the rise of the feminine again to really ground that force, that source energy back down into earth, back through the grids, and then really help our men become what they were always meant to be, which is the leaders, the action takers, the risk takers. They also have a nurturing side and a cherishing side. It isn't all about, you know, muscles and all the macho thing, you know. And like I say, we've all been turned around, haven't we?
Yeah.
Emasculated. The women have been sort of masculated.
Yeah.
All topsy-turvy, and we really need, and again, to come back to ourselves, really disregard all the information, all the crappy information that's out there, and start talking to yourself, start talking to your heart, and about who you are, what you really want, how you really want to be, rather than, oh, they say I've got to be like that, or I've got to fit into that group, or no, I've got to be in that camp.
Yeah. And you know what? I think social media plays a part as well, massively. I know women that you see them all the time. And they're obviously, it's not their real lives, but you see them. They'll go to the gym. They look in great shape. They've got kids. Like their houses are spotless. The kids are well dressed. They've got no food around the mouth. They're baking everything. Everything's healthy eating, and and it makes other women feel like shit, because nobody can sustain that lifestyle, but you find it on social media, and it's like
Amy, let me tell you a secret, and this is why it's important to be authentic online. I work on social media. It is a freaking minefield, you know what I mean? It is a minefield. And to be quite honest, those ladies that seem like they have it all together, they're so neurotic. They haven't got a clue. They don't know their arse from their elbow. They haven't got a clue. They're completely neurotic. And to be that organized and perfect and all this, can you imagine that the stress that they're under? I'm sorry, leave the washing up for an evening, love. It's fine. You know what I mean? The vacuuming doesn't have to be done until tomorrow, and that basket of washing doesn't need to be folded until, at least Friday. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's fine. But like I say, these women who portray these lifestyles, they're more neurotic than we are.
Yeah.
I realise that sounds very judgmental, but it's true. To have everything in such spick and span shape and in the boxes and all this kind of, really? No. Leave the washing up. Just leave it.
Yeah.
Leave the And then when they leave the washing up, they start twitching. It's like, oh no, just leave it.
Yeah, it's just awful. But we're very good at comparing ourselves to other people. And it's like, oh my God, should I be doing that? Should it be, it's just like, I don't know. It's very odd.
Comparison. Oh my God. Comparison was one of my big issues until quite recently. And it was always, looking at the other profiles and they're doing so well, and why am I not doing that, and they're so doing well, and why can't I do that, and and they've got this and it's all right for them, and they must have started off with a real blah 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 XYZ and whatever it is. And it's like, really? Are we really going to do that to ourselves, girls? Are we really going to compare ourselves to somebody who we know probably absolutely nothing about, especially if it's a celebrity or even just somebody on social media and all this kind of thing? And this is why, honestly, well, you've seen some of my posts, Amy, and it's just like, I just let it all out. I let it all hang out. It's like, no, I fluffed it up. No, I completely loved it. I ain't perfect. I will go on with like no makeup, hair a mess, and mug of coffee, caffeined up, going proper feral, and going, it's like, what's going on today, ladies? It's like, let's do it. And I tend to get a good response because of that. You know what I mean? No, I am not perfect. I don't pretend to be perfect. I am no better than anybody else. But that comparison thing is deadly. It's absolutely deadly to us women, especially when ladies of a certain age, the boobs don't do the north thing anymore, and we might have a little bit of extra padding around the hippage area, and you start doing this kind of thing in the mirror, and no, I don't have any Botox, no, none of the I can actually make expressions with my face, and ladies, you don't need none of that either. You're all beautiful, just let me say that. But it's like, what the amount of stuff us ladies are put under. We have to be beautiful, we have to have pert everything, and we have to have fashion this, but we also have to be smart, and then what's the word? I can't think. It's submissive.
Yeah,
we have to be submissive. Right. I'm an oldest woman, I'm 53. Submissive. You can have a bleeding life, yeah. It's like, I mean, you talk about these, like, these 50-year-old women who go out there and be cougars. Oh, trust me. I'm not one of them. But I tell you what, if I ever got hold of a younger man, he would not know what would hit him. But that's not my thing. But even so, but being cougars, no, have some self-respect, love.
Yes. It's funny you should mention your social media post, because that's where I first clocked you. You did a post that went absolutely viral. The men's sticker charts.
Yes, my oh crikey, I can't even think now, because my weaponized incompetence post.
Yes.
My weaponized incompetence post. And the thing is, I put that out purely because I'd had that conversation again with my husband again, and had the same conversation again for the 6 millionth time. And and they sit there and they go, well, I don't know. Well, didn't you tell me? And how do I do this, and this? And it's like everything they either want, need, want to know. The first word out of my husband's mouth, where is it? How do you do what? And the thing is, right, and I know you laughed at this, he's an engineer, right? And he's also an electrical engineer. This man, really, when it comes to car mechanics, engineer, he's a genius. Tell him, like, does he know where to find his socks? Come on. Does he know where to find his socks? No. And like I say, that I put it out there because I was just so fed up of having the same rant over and over again. And I just kind of put it out there because I didn't have anywhere else to put it. I didn't have anybody to talk to at the time. It was like, I just, in that moment, I was just like, my mates were somewhere else. I was just like, right, I need to get this out. So I put it down. And I just put it out there and thinking, somebody will resonate with that. And then the next day, it was like, oh, I went up to about 50 likes and a few comments. And I thought, oh, brilliant. I says, I thought it's resonated with a fair few ladies. Oh, we'll have a good giggle. And, and I responded to my comments. Literally 2 days later or 3 days later, it was like 3,500 interactions, more than 500, 600 comments, and all these women going, oh my God, you're talking about my life. Have you met my husband? How did you know? Have you been looking in my diary? Have you been to my house? Have you oh my God. And then they were coming out, and then beautiful, beautiful women were coming out with their stories and their own experiences. And some of these things were class. And like I say, the sticker chart for your man, not just for the kids, but the sticker chart for your man, they all agreed. Some had even tried it.
Actually, oh God.
I kid you not, some had even tried it. And I reckon there is definitely a trademark sort of patent here for men's charts, and having how many times, and ticks for how many times you have to have the same conversation over and over again. And but also, I mean, it's funny, but on a deeper note, when all my lights have gone off, oh dear, I might just have to put that back on. You see, that's what happens when you don't, when you're not, you know, all right. That's going to go right. There you go. So,
Yeah, there you are. You're back.
there you go. There you go. Right, where was I? Weaponizing confidence, and but on that deeper level. And I do have a husband like this, and we are working on it, or at least I'm sort of beating him around the head with a bit of 2 before, and just to sort of like try and get it into his thick skull. But on a deeper level, when you have a gentleman that is a dismissive avoidant, so it's not quite there as a narcissist. You know, next one down, and the same conversation you have to have again about how do you feel. You're trying to explain to them what needs you have and why you can feel so lonely in a relationship, because even though they're physically there, emotionally and mentally, they can just be completely void and just completely, well, transparent. They're just not there. And this is one of the reasons why I feel all of those women actually liked and commented, and I still haven't finished all of those comments because they kept coming in for days and days and days. I think it finished up about 4,500 interactions, nearly 1,000 comments. It was just such a response and such an eye-opener of where women are right now and why I do what I do, because on a deeper level, there are so many women out there struggling. They're on their own. They don't know if it's their fault, if it's not, what to do with the husband. You know, do you stay with them? Do you put up with it? Do you leave? And then you have all the things about what do you leave? And then you have all the questions like, well, you know, he's a nice guy. He doesn't hit me, you know, and it's like, he might be a nice guy, he might provide, but if he's literally emotionally and mentally absent because there's no connection there, what do you do? And there's only so many times you get, like I say, you can bang your head up against that brick wall by asking them, what are they going to do? You know, are they going to do something? Do they want to do something? And then it's like, oh, but I don't know what to do. And, you know, but then I'm only going to do it for you. And it's like, but then you get around to that. This is the one. It's like, no, you don't need to do it for me. I want you to want it for yourself. Because you want them to want it for themselves.
Yeah.
It's that line. Ooh, it's just not there. It's just not there. So on the surface, yes, I mean, we can have a lot of laughs, and to be quite honest, I bring a lot of laughter into my therapy and my rooms and holding spaces and that kind of thing, because you can get so deep and it can get so intense. And like I say, women are covering up these feelings. They're hiding how they feel. They're putting up with all, well, not with all this, it's all, they're putting up with the without. You know, they're
because you start to feel like you're needy. Because I've been in that position. It's like you're too emotional, that you start thinking like that, and you have to be,
And then the thing is, because you know how they're going to respond, you start lining up your conversations and working out how you're going to say before they even say it. So you're working out your conversations before you even get there. And then when you hear it, you know, you get that twitch.
Yes.
You've heard the same thing time and time again. You know, all of a sudden you start getting the twitch in the eye. You know, and the thing is, it's like, what can we do? What can we do if you want to leave, if you don't want to leave, if you have to stay? You know, I mean, crikey, I mean, women who want to move out from their husbands right now, there's nowhere to rent, there's nowhere to go.
No,
this country is being overrun and invaded, and we won't go down that rabbit hole right now, is it? You know, and then so where are us women and us, my two girls, for want of where are we to go? Is it safe out there? Where is there anywhere I can go that isn't going to be faced with all the dangers that could be out there, all that? So, you know, do you stay? Do you go? Is it safe to go? Is it safe to stay? What happens if you do go? And what are you going to be stuck with if you do stay? And we are stuck with all this stuff in our heads, in our emotions, nowhere to go, nobody to talk to, because you can't, you know, when you try and explain it to your mates, and it's like, yeah, well, he's all right, he's not doing anything wrong, you know, he's fine, he works hard, he looks after you and all that kind of thing, you know, what are you talking about? And you're like, and they just, and you know,
yeah,
and that's why I feel I create this, my space, because it's a refuge for women. It's somewhere for them to go and talk, somewhere where I can give them so many different tools to be able to navigate our own emotions, or if we're shut down, how to really bring about feeling again, how to start beginning to know who we are, come back to who we are. And that's before we even start stepping into, what do I actually really want, what's going to fulfill me, you know what I mean? And like I say, ladies, the ladies that I see, and some of the transformations that I have seen, just purely because a woman has been seen, has been heard, has just been heard and understood, and be able to, I can't really think of the word, but it's just, you know, when women get together and we can really connect, and we can just talk about life, the universe and everything, and we're not there to fix anybody else's problems, but women need that community of women, of wise women, so that we can go and just be held by somebody else and go, that's perfectly fine, that's perfectly fine, complete, you're normal, you're not doing anything. and like I say again, there's so much going on, there's so many people watching everything external to them, and reacting to all the external things that are going on, and it's distressing, it's heartbreaking for me, you know, personally, because, you know, it's like all these, I mean, men as well, but women and children and young girls coming into this world, and they're without this emotional intelligence, and then all of a sudden they've got all these feelings coming up, and they don't know what to do with them, they don't know how to describe them, they don't know if they can express them or if they have to hide them down, or, you know, and then there's all the stigma of like society and who you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to be, and it is so just information overload. And going back to the original thing of social media, when there is so much information out there, misinformation out there, disinformation out there, conflicting information out there, contradicting information out there, you know. And this is why I always tell people to use your own discernment, and to go within, and to really feel how you feel about things, and not take everything at face value. And to be quite honest, I mean, yes, I use AI. I blog into Bob. I call him Bob. I call ChatGPT, right? I call him Bob, right? Call him Bob. I use him, really. I just basically talk into him, blog me stuff. I say, right, blah, 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 right, and I put it into a nice coherent post. I take it out, and then I probably rip it to bits of it a bit more. I don't want that bit. And then put more of my flavour in and go, right, now I'm happy with it. You know, but there's so much AI out there, and it is getting so difficult to see what's true, what's not. But I also feel that's done on purpose. That's done by design, because there's so much information coming out now about all different kinds of things, the good, the bad, and the ugly. How do you know what's what? How do you know what?
Exactly. And that's scary in itself, you know.
Especially, and like I say, for young women or women, when we're supposed to be finding ourselves, and we're going out there, we're looking and we're searching, and if we don't have the community of women or that support around us, it's difficult to really find what you're looking for, especially within all that information. And when everybody, you know, a woman has to be like this or give up this, when actually what we really should be doing is like, no, you can tell all that to bugger off. Let's talk about you. Let's find you, let's see you, let's get you feeling, you know, and let's get you getting into a space of where you want to be, not where I want them to be, but, you know, I want you to be where you want to be. And if I have any tools or any knowledge or any wisdom that can help women to do that, then I am here for it. I'm absolutely here for it, because I'm so, I've got to a place of being so done, and I was so angry. I was so angry about so many things, about, like saying, narcissistic relationships and how they can even get worse even after the split up, and having all of that, having to heal from that, having to find out what kind of part I played in that, rather than point the finger and go, it's all your fault. It's like, what part did I play? That what did I allow?
Yeah.
What did I allow? And again, it can be so quite difficult for anyone really to get to a point of an end of a relationship where you feel like you've been made a fool of, or you've wasted so much time.
Yeah.
And again, us women, we are so bound by our biological clock. Do we have a career? Do we have babies? Do we have the career first? Do we have the babies first? Do we have the career second? And all this kind of thing. So I've kind of gone all around the Reiki, really, and
I like that. I like that you said about, like, what did I do in the relationship, because I believe a big part of awareness is that you know your good points, but you also know your bad points. And where relationships fail, you both played a part somewhere along the line. And that's awareness, when you can stand back, because otherwise I don't know whether you'll find that we all loop the same thing until we get to that point, because you can't change until you know, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's absolutely it. I can talk until I'm blue in the face, but until somebody is ready to make that change or ready to hear it, nothing's ever going to happen. But really, yes, we all have those things. Like I say, you ask a woman to write down 5 things she loves about herself, she'll find it difficult. You ask her to find 10, 20 things that she doesn't like about or loathes about herself, she'll write them down. But there's also those things that we know we don't like about ourselves, that we keep secret, that we hide. And that's where the shadow work really, really comes in, and being really compassionate with yourself really comes in, because there are those things that we have done, that we have thought, or we've played a part in, that we have to take total accountability for, because it's not all about pointing the fingers and saying they did this and they did that. Yes, they have their part to play, but really the only thing that we can do is look inside ourselves. And one of my favorite sayings is, there is nothing outside of yourself that you can't control or fix. It's all in here. Everybody else has to do their own thing, and there's nothing outside of us that we have to control or fix. It's all in here. And so when we realize, and when we can dive in and see those parts of ourselves that we really loathe, that we hide from people. I had so many things. It was about how I was always angry, how I was angry with my children. I thought I was a bad mother. I was surrounded by guilt and all this kind of thing. And 90% of that was just narrative that I had made meaning from situations, and it was a narrative in my head. 90% of it wasn't true. It wasn't true. And then you get to the 10% part where, yes, okay, I did do this, I did act out because of X, Y, and Z, I did play a part, I have allowed this, and this is where the true, really deep healing comes in, and this is where women can really, really, really transform, because it's when they look at themselves and we can release that guilt and shame, because women, so many of us hold it purely because we're too pretty, or we're not pretty enough, or we want to be pretty, or we want more, or we can't have this, or we, and so much stuff is foisted upon us, and we are so full of guilt and shame. And watching a woman transform out of that, to release that guilt, to release that shame, even the things where she's really ashamed of things she's done herself, me included, and to watch them transform, and to really see that compassion and that love for themselves, and then turn that narrative around. So rather than be a kind of like a black hole where all this energy and feelings and all this kind of thing coming in and being soaked in and all that kind of thing, and then being held in your own energy system and being stuck there and like goo and glue and goop and all this kind of thing. It's horrible. But when women turn that around in themselves, that's when they start to shine, and the energy, rather than being sucked in, starts to go out, and that's when we start to become magnetic, and that's when we start to glow, and that's when we start to affect our reality, and things start to work out for ourselves. But it's that whole sort of like contractive guilt, shame, I'm no good, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't have, blah blah blah, comparison, all this kind of thing. It keeps it all just coming in, and we suck everything in, and we suck how everybody else feels in, and we have to take all of that on board and feel guilty for that, and we need to fix that. And it's absolutely exhausting. It is exhausting.
It is. And like, society has got a lot to answer for, because I think from a young age, we're kind of led that you go to school, you come out, you either go to college or university, or you get a job, you meet somebody, you get married, you have a child, you get a house. So it's all very mapped out. And what I struggled with, I was 38 when I got divorced. So I played along with life all that time. And then my marriage broke down, and it's 38. And all I can remember is that comparison thing again, because I'm thinking, I'm 38 years old now. I should have my shit sorted out. It was the biggest punch in the face of reality that I've ever had. And I think when you go through something like that, people always make opinions, won't they? They'll always make opinions. So you have them to deal with, like you say, as well as thinking, what the fuck do I do now? Because I haven't got a plan now, because, and it's hard. So like you say, when people leave relationships, you've got all that to deal with as well, the society side of it.
Crikey, there's so much stigma even now about moms, even now in 2020 bloody 6, and there's still stigma about you being a single parent. Not on the men though, not on the men.
No.
They can still go and throw and spread their seed and have more families, but no, we can't do that. We can't have that freedom. We are not allowed that freedom, because we have to be the carers and all this kind of thing. And it's one of those. And like I say, I still see women struggling all the time, because they've got, for ones, some of them do really have amicable divorces, and they can have co-parenting, and it works. And to be quite honest, but again, for about 60 or 70% of women, that's not the case. That is not the case. They have a deadbeat dad, or they don't have anyone that's around, or they have one that then pays but only £5 a week because they don't want to pay anymore, and they've got like jobs behind, and and everything in between. You can get the good, the bad, and the ugly, but there is still so much stigma on being a single parent, and it is still so rough for women to even do what. You have a child, 2 children, 3 children, you're bringing them up. What are you supposed to do? You stay at home, you've got to be on benefits, but then if you work, you've got to pay for all the childcare and all that kind of thing, because you're not there between the hours of school or whatever. And you're absolutely right. I mean, I have a 14-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old just about to go into secondary school, and what they are now exposed to. I mean, my eldest daughter, she's now in the throes of, dare I say it, school and the LBG2XYZ, sort of all of that. So they all have to have some kind of label, or they, them, it, what, she, I don't know.
I'm confused by the whole thing. I don't know what's going on.
Straight over my head, right? Straight over my head. And even for them, and my youngest now going into secondary school, where she's going to be exposed to so many more different personalities, and all this kind of thing, and how is she going to fit in, and how is she going to be? you know, and it's like, it's really challenging to get them to be themselves, actually individuate.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
self-individuate, getting them to self-individuate rather than just be one of a big massive crowd.
Yeah. And do you know what? Growing up is hard enough, and it just seems like it's overcomplicated everything for them. I just, yeah, I just think it's horrific, you know.
The thing that if I can give out a piece of advice, if anybody has teenage children, especially teenage daughters, there's three things. There's only three things I say when you go into secondary school. There's only three things you need to work on: yourself, your schoolwork, and your friendships. Not romances, not anything else, just those three things. You don't have to be distracted with anything else. You don't have to complicate your life with anything else. Just stick to those three things until you leave school. After that, the world's yours, right? And teaching my girls to navigate, to be themselves, to not get lost in this stigma and labels and all this kind of thing. And don't get me wrong, my daughters want to be gay. If they want to have a same-sex relationship, that's fine. I don't have a problem with any of that. Where I have a problem with is the agenda and
Yeah.
all the stuff that they plug on social media, even though under 16s are being banned now. But even so, they still have access to so many things. They still talk to each other. They still have access to TV and other platforms. It just doesn't have to be Instagram, Facebook, and bloody TikTok, you know. And but it's really challenging to navigate for them to be individual in a place where the agenda is so strong, you know, and it's just on top of everything.
I just think it's wrong. It's brainwashing at a young age. I mean, from my point of view, your brain's not fully formed till you're 25 years old. You can't make a good decision. So if you've made a mess of your life before 25, it's absolutely fine because your prefrontal cortex wasn't formed. So children at secondary school, to confuse them that much, make it easy to follow the crowd and not necessarily the route they would go. I think it's absolutely criminal.
Yeah. I mean, we could go on, or I could go on all night about this subject, but like I say, emotional intelligence, just really teaching young people how to find themselves rather than forcing them down. I mean, TV, YouTube shorts, whatever it is, there are agendas everywhere, not just that one in particular, but there are agendas everywhere. And like I say, if they're going to be banned from social media, they'll find something else.
Yeah.
If they can't go on social media, they'll go underground. If they can't have social media, then they'll form other groups and other ways of communicating, you know. And so it's they're not going to stop anything. But like I say, rather than educate young people and helping them to really find themselves, rather than this is how you have to be and this is how you have to be and we have to be all inclusive, and as we all know, it is the agenda to make the PDFs, the PDFOs, I don't know whether we're going to say, but the PDFOs, you know, the PDF files,
yeah,
you know, and to make that normal, to make that a sexual preference rather than the diabolical, disgusting thing that it is, to make it normal and to be inclusive, and it's just part of this LGBTQ blah 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 blah. And that is what I disagree with. Absolutely, that's what I disagree with. That's the agenda I disagree with, normalizing the PDF files.
And
that's what it is. But again, it's where all this work that we were talking about, all this shadow work, breath work, just awareness, meditation, compassion, for ourselves, to come back to ourselves, to really open up, to really develop those parts of the brain as they're developing, rather than instilling all the wrong kind of stuff in them and letting them grow. But it's an ongoing thing. It's a challenge, but it's an ongoing thing. But I do feel that we are going to come out this the other way, the other end.
Yeah, I do too.
The other side of this, I really do. You'll have to excuse me. I'm going to
arranging your bottle.
My bottle, because I'm going to have to stick it behind my back. I'm so sorry.
Love it. Are you better? Is that better? Absolutely love it. I honestly believe that your communities will just keep growing and growing and growing.
I hope so, because I'm seeing a lot of women are my mission. I'm seeing a lot of women out there just literally crumbling over the weight of non-fulfillment, non-purpose, complete exhaustion of giving themselves, sacrificing themselves, giving everything, not even knowing that they have permission to do things for themselves, to be healthy, selfish, and do things for themselves and have compassion for themselves. And self-care is so much more than a mani-pedi and a hot bath. You know what I mean? It's so much more than that. And to remind women to really look at them and say, you're amazing, you're beautiful, you are worth it, you deserve it, you deserve the love, you deserve the comfort, you deserve the nurturing, you deserve all of that. And you can also give that to yourself. You don't have to wait for anybody external to give that to you, because you can give it all to yourself. You can give yourself that validation, you can give yourself that love, you can give yourself that recognition, you know. And please, ladies, have full permission to do that. You have full permission, because half of us spend most of our time, just like I say, still waiting for mummy and daddy to come and save us.
Yeah.
They have issues of their own, and they're not coming, you know. And most of them don't even know what this work is. They just, people look at me and go, oh, you're one of them, are you?
Yeah.
You know?
Or you'll say self-care to some women, and these are the ones that aren't aware, bless them, yet, because I always say everybody will become aware.
Exactly.
But you'll talk about self-care, and the first thing is they'll go, oh no, I can't do that, I haven't got time for that, that's selfish, I've got to do everything myself first. So when people actually start sitting and going, right, what can I do for me, they actually feel guilty.
Yes.
Because that's like a belief
it goes completely against everything that we're programmed and conditioned to believe that women are, and how we're supposed to be in the world. And that's it. Just getting women to sort of like, really do some self-care, really do something. Oh no, don't have time for that, I've got to do all this thing, and I've got to do all this for my family, and do all this, and couldn't possibly do that, because if I do that, I'm a bad girl.
Yeah.
If I sacrifice myself, then I'm lovable and I'm worthy. Yeah. And if I give up all of that, then I'll be noticed, and everything that I can do can just wait. And oh my God, what absolute, when I hear this again, it's like, yes, you can make time for yourself. It is important that you make time. But no, I couldn't do that, and the kids have got to come first. No, you have to come first. You have to fill your cup, and your cup has to be overflowing. Otherwise, nobody else is going to get an ounce of you. You have to fill. And I thought this was a load of tosh when I first heard this. You have to fill everybody else from an overflowing cup. But no, women don't think that. No, I'm just going to keep going and keep going. I'm fine. And even when I'm ill, I've got to keep going. And even when the kids are ill, I've got to keep going. And it's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You can actually stop and breathe, and maybe leave the washing up, or maybe leave the kids to the father. There, there's a thing. Let dad be parent, not be babysitter. Let dad be parent. Isn't that novel? And actually do something for yourself. But really, that is the hardest thing, getting women to really see that they can and do deserve the care and attention that they crave. And this is it, the women
Yes.
are craving for it. They're craving for connection. They're craving for caressing intimacy. And I'm not talking, hot sex and sort of like 5 or 6 times a night. I'm talking a bit of pillow talk.
Yeah.
Talking of let's talk about what we're going to do for the next few months, or how we're going to have a holiday, or and what pillow talk, and just even a bit of just a snog, a bit of
Yeah.
snogging.
Yeah.
When was the last time you had a decent, passionate snog? Yeah, you get the all right, love, see you later, and all that. When did you get really like hot, passionate snog off your man? Something simple as that.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about you, but I'm seeing at the minute, mainly on Instagram and TikTok, the uprise of single women showing how their lives have completely changed for the better, and everything they're doing now, like the self-care, they're eating better, they've gone and got a dog. Like, you're seeing it. And on one side, I'm going, yes, good for you. Good for you. You're showing it's possible. But then the flip side of it, it's like, is this what it's coming to? Is it really what's happening? Because there's a hell of a lot of people out there at the minute, women of all ages.
Well, I think the general consensus, especially after my weaponized incompetence post, is that us ladies are getting very fed up with just carrying everything and not having a partner. Yeah, and it doesn't, and I don't mean what you've got to have a man that earns millions and all this kind of thing, but just somebody who's actually present, on the same page with you,
Yeah.
working towards the same things as you. You haven't got to be exactly the same. You haven't got to be exactly the same. The more different you are, the better it is from what I see. Because then you can, if you have your different things, then you come together into, you've got your man and your woman, you do the inner work, yeah, and you bring your best selves into the container that is your relationship. So you've not, so in that sense, you're not really committing to each other, you're committing to yourselves, but committing to bring your best selves into that relationship. And I think that's where people get a lot of mixed up, because I expect you to do this and I expect you to do that, and you've got to do this in the relationship and you've got to do that to make me happy. And it's like, and that's where it all falls down, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because expectations, especially for women, are fatal. Expectations are fatal. And so, but to be quite honest, there's not a lot of men that are actually coming up to meet their partners in that space. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, there are women out there that aren't coming up to that level as well. But as speaking as a woman, from a woman's perspective, and seeing what I do and the women that I speak to, we're pretty pissed off. In fact, we're pretty fluffed off about having nothing, having breadcrumbs, being thrown away, being second best, not being thought of, and not even being wooed.
Yeah.
I know that's an old word. I know that's not, but even being wooed, just romanced and being wooed, and and being really looked at and just and just
I don't think that happens nowadays.
I don't think it happens now either. No, and that's it. It's just unfortunate that women have got to that point where they're just so happy being single, doing their own thing, glowing upon their own, that we don't actually need a man. But
yes, it seems the in thing. I mean, like I say, I think it's absolutely fantastic that they're doing so well. Like, honestly, like, inspiring. but then you think, but how has it ended up like that? And then,
Are these women soft? Are these women hard? They look feminine, but they seem to be in quite masculine energy because they're having to do things for themselves, everything themselves. Well, this is the thing, you see, you've got that one side where you can make the choices for yourself, by yourself, and you can do it, and you don't need any permission. You haven't got anybody chewing your ear off and undermining you and being condescending and just, telling you all the things that can go wrong without, you know what I mean? Because that's the
yeah.
first thing they do. If you tell a man anything, first thing they do is either criticize it or undermine it.
Yes.
So ladies, you go and tell your man something now. First thing you'll do, I think I'm doing this. And that first thing they do is criticize it and undermine it.
Yes, but if you think about it, they're only making an opinion from their mindset. Because that's the only thing that's everybody. They can only make an opinion on their own mindset, own experiences.
And the thing is, I hate to say it, but it is true. Not a lot of men are actually stepping up to the inner work plate.
Yes.
There are some out there. There are. And I know I haven't found them yet. But there are, and I see all these like gentlemen coaches online, and it's like, yeah, and it's like, I bet you're single. Those male coaches, I bet you're single. In it, you know it, don't you? You know it. So, but yeah, I think as ladies are just so fed up of having to do things, but all on our own. So we might as well just do it on our own. Then.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
there's an epidemic, apparently. I don't know how true this is, but an epidemic of lonely men out there. And it's like, wow. And then you get all the men don't want to date the women because the women are being so picky, but then the women don't want to date the men because the men are arseholes and, misogynistic and narcissistic, and all the red flags are going up. And it's just like, but this is the thing. Like, if we can get past the propaganda, the programming, the conditioning that both men and women have just been poured on us for decades, millennia, right? If we can get past that, right, we might have a chance. We might.
Yes.
But at the moment, like I say, there is a great divide going on. Not just with men and women, with parents and children. Divide and conquer. It's the old sort of like Roman strategy.
Absolutely.
And that's what's happening in the world right now. And so, but we're here, Amy. We're here.
We're here.
We're here fighting the good fight.
We are.
Lost. I'm not all doom and gloom. I'm not just a sort of like I'm not just about to flush the whole world down the toilet right now. There is absolutely I know there are women out there who are ready to step up for themselves, and it's important that they do. And I'm not just talking about the glow up or being single or man hating or anything like that, but truly I am, my mission is to reach as many women as possible, because when we get to a certain age, and like I say, the motherhood is over and the children are grown up, and then we have all this sort of, well, we get the hormones, we get the questions, and it's like, who am I, what am I doing? And then I completely understand why women can lose themselves this time of life, you know what I mean? And it's so, and I can completely see and understand why so many women of my age get divorced, and that kind of thing. But there is a way that we can really come back to ourselves, find ourselves again, really navigate perimenopause and menopause. And it doesn't have to involve a whole load of HRT and pharmaceutical drugs either. You know what I mean? If getting to know your body, understanding what's going on, treating it well, eating the right thing, drinking plenty of water, making sure you're eating clean, and the self-care, like I say, goes deeper than just a mani-pedi and a hot bath. You know what I mean? Yes, it is time to do some gentle yoga, dancing, you know, take yourself out into nature, go and get that massage that you've been wanting to book for the last 6 months. You know what I mean? You've had that voucher in the back of the kitchen drawer there that you've had for Christmas, you know, for that massage, and you still haven't booked it. Go and book it.
Yeah.
Go and book the Reiki session, go and book the reflexology, go and book the massage, do whatever it is that you need to make you go, oh, and bring your shoulders down about 3 feet, rather than
yeah.
it's kind of like being wired and tired. You know, the thing when you're wired, when you're in that sticky, horrible, messy middle bit of perimenopause, and you're wired and tired, you're up, you're down, you're in, you're out, you can't sleep, you can't eat, you can't do anything, you're sweating for weeks on end. You know, you're sweating and in places you didn't even know you could sweat, just like today. In places you didn't even right.
I do love that.
And women seem to think that you just have to do this on your own, or just way through it, or you have to go and get pharmaceutical HRT, and with all the problems that comes in. I can tell you, there are so many things that we can do for ourselves, so many things that we can do for ourselves to really start navigating that part, start navigating, getting to know ourselves, getting to know all the sensations in our body, getting to know our intuition again. I mean, we haven't even got on the woo-woo side of things. And really about what our energy can do. And when we really start bringing that energy back, because like I say, when we get to a certain age, that's it, the energy is just gone, the motivation is just gone. And really understanding how our body operates without the lovely estrogen hormone and dopamine and your serotonin, because all of that is like, it's either gone, it's gone south, it's disappeared, or it's just not working as it used to. And again, there are so many things us women can do, like I say, just by changing our food, taking the odd supplement.
That's it.
It's breath work, and just being calm on yourself, resting and sleeping when you are tired, rather than just pushing through because you feel that you have to, and nothing else is going to get done because nobody else does it. It's only, you know, it's really stopping to take that look at yourself and go, do you know something? I deserve a rest. I am worthy of it. And it keeps coming back to the same thing. And again, I am here to remind all the women, you are so worthy and deserving of love and support, and to feel good in yourselves, to feel good about yourselves.
I love it. So if anybody's listening right now and says, right, I need a bit of Emma, where can they find you online?
Very, very easy. I'm on Facebook right now. I also have a little .com, but you can find me on Facebook. It's Emma Diamond Streak Jackson. It's a long story about the Diamond Streak. If you look up Emma Jackson and you find me with it used to be Silver Streak.
Right, okay.
Streak, but it was like, I thought I had to go a bit more than that, a bit more than silver, a bit diamonds, a bit more, you know. Anyway. But you can find me on Facebook, Emma Diamond Street Jackson. All my information is there. My .com is in my bio. There is also the pinned post at the top where you can find my group details. My group is Alchemy Unleashed. That's what the name is.
I'm part of that group, and I can recommend it. Emma, I have one last question for you, which I know that you're going to find really easy to answer and everybody else finds hard.
Go on then.
Tell me 3 good things about yourself.
Oh my God, right, okay. I have absolute psychic skills up the wazoo bar. I love talking to women. I love getting all those juicy nuggets, all the juicy nuggets that they don't need and throwing them away. I'm absolutely fabulous at that. I have a fantastic sense of humour. I have a rude, dry and naughty sense of humour. And so that's 2. And 3.
The 3rd one's always the hardest.
Well, it's kind of like, I'm authentic, I have to say.
Yes.
And and I have a wonderful ability to see right into people.
I love that. You are such an inspiration. When we had a chat weeks ago before the podcast, your way on social media is inspiring because people tend to post the norm, shall I say, what you should be posting. So I want you to go on to Emma's Facebook and scroll down to the post that went viral, because you'll know what I mean when she said she had all these comments, because it was finally a post that you read on Facebook where you were just honest, raw, and it just made me chuckle reading through it, because I was like, oh my God, she's actually saying what everybody else is thinking, but they can't say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I love about you, because you just come out and say it. It's not meant in a horrible way at all. It's just honest. And that's why you do so well. And that's why I love you for it.
Oh, thank you. You are absolutely amazing. We are best friends for life now. And that's the thing. I've always had this wonderful ability to state the obvious, purely because I don't have any filters. I don't have any filters, and I can't lie. I don't know how to. If I lie, it all goes positively wrong. So I just stopped doing that ages and ages ago. So I just tend to say what I see. And yes, that can be sometimes intense, conflictive, confronting to some people. But I'm kind of like, just get it out there. If you get it out there, and you know, and you can deal with it, and you know, but not a lot of people have that kind of mentality or attitude. And but no, I'm direct. I don't believe in messing about. I like getting to the point, and I like getting to the source of it, and because those tend to be the most juiciest bits of people, you know, the stuff that they don't say, or the stuff
that
they really want to say but they can't, or that stuff I can see behind their eyes, so I say it, and it's like, oh, how did you know that? And it's like, you know.
Yeah. I love that. So anybody listening, I highly recommend that you go and visit Emma. Go and join a group as well, because you're in there quite a bit, aren't you, in that group?
I every day. I like to put something in there every day, like I say, whether it be direct, confronting, humorous, you know, and especially when I fall over on my arse myself, because you know, it's I think it's important to show people that, no,
we are human.
I can look pretty with me bling on, but no, I am only human. I am not perfect. I fluff up all the time, and no, and I mean, I'm doing some fantastic inner work with Peter Sage. If you don't know him, look him up.
Oh, Peter, yes.
Level, he is next level.
Yes, I've been lucky enough to have training off him. Yes.
Oh my God, he's up there, Ryan. He's up there. And I mean, I can talk to you. I'm on social media. I can have a rant. I can, you know, and as soon as you hit post. But I was put in a room with 5 strangers. Now, I am not a shy wallflower by any stretch of the imagination, right? But I was put in a room with 5 women, and all of a sudden the attention was turned on me, and it was like, oh, tell us about yourself.
Yeah.
And I balked. Can you believe it? I froze. And I had stuff written down, and I was like, I've just got to write down what I've got my notes on and all this kind of thing. And I was like, but because I've done all this work, I was just like, Emma, what's going on? And I read me notes out, and I was like, right, this is what I'm going to do. But the oh my God, I felt like I was bouncing off this invisible rubber wall, and it was like, don't want to say anything. Oh my God, they're all looking at me and they want to know about me. Why do they want to know? And then my narrative, my old narrative, oh, they don't want to hear that because you don't want to burden them with it. No, you don't want to say that because you're just going to sound silly if you start talking about your psychic skills and all this kind of blah, blah. And it was like, and the thing, I was like, no way. I mean, after all the work that I do, after everything I do, to actually come up and like really have a thing about actually being seen vulnerably. And I'm like, oh. So I'm like, I'm in my journal, man. I'm like writing this. I'm like, oh my God, I felt this. And it's like, I didn't even believe that was there. I had no idea.
Yeah.
It was like, have I got a bit of a thing about being seen? But again, goes back to like,
really
child, all of that. But like I say, even so, I ain't perfect. It still fluffs up for me. I still do the work. I do the work with you. I'm not there. I haven't arrived anywhere, because it's always an ongoing process. There's always another layer of the onion.
I love that. Well, thank you for being such an amazing guest. I feel like we need a part 2.
Amy, I'm there for it. I am there for it. You want me? I'm there for it. I can talk for hours on topics. I really
good. It's not often that I invite people back, but will you come back for a second?
I would love to. If you really want to, I would love to. This is fabulous. I had such fun.
Good. Well, you take care, and everybody watch out for episode number 2.